Okay, so here's where we're at today. Got that mounted. We're working on mounting this trim piece and locating all the holes back up for it, and then I'll pull it off and I'll put a couple coats of varnish on it because you can see it's got some weathering from before when these leaked here. So I'm gonna fix that, make them all nice again, and then got the aft bulkhead teak panel in, got this side teak panel in, which was a very difficult fit. This one was also very difficult, and actually we broke the first one that I had put all that loving care into it, so much varnish, making it beautiful. So this time we just cut a new piece of teak, and I only put one coat of varnish on it. So that's where we're at on that. And then now, what we're working on right now is getting this fit, this teak panel here fit. As you can see, I have a couple of fasteners in it, holding it temporarily in place. And we just installed the new overhead panel. Well, it's not a panel, it's just a piece of plywood template that is used to hold this into the radius there. So anyways. Welcome back to another exciting and thrill-filled adventure with DIY Nautical Dream. Okay, maybe that was a little over the top. Anyways, we'll go ahead and get our next video started.
Here at top, Camp Muir. Welcome back to another episode of DIY Nautical Dream. I'm Priscilla.
And I'm Rich.
Together, we make DIY Nautical Dream.
So yeah, we just hiked to the top of Camp Muir on Mount Rainier. And yeah, this was quite the hike. This was on our bucket list. And we've been wanting to do this. We tried it last weekend. The weather didn't cooperate. We had to turn around. But yeah, it cooperated today. So take a look. This is what it looks like up at Camp Muir.
It's very nice.
Behind us is a sea of clouds.
Oh yeah, right there.
See that? So yeah, we did it. It was not easy. So anyways, we just want to say thank you, and we hope you enjoy the next video. And stay tuned.
Thanks for watching.
See ya.
Bye. Alright, here we are again. Welcome back, guys.
Welcome back.
So this week episode, we finding more lakes in the Galley overhead.
Oh yeah, that's the gift that never stops giving right there, that Galley overhead. So yeah, we discovered more new leaks in the Galley overhead, and we thought we had found them all, but apparently not, so we get to keep finding more. And so that really helps kind of explain we're in the right area. And that explains why that area has so much water damage in there. It wasn't just from the large forward opening hatch like we previously thought, although that was contributing to it significantly. But these other ones that we're finding are also adding fuel to that fire as well. So, and also, since we're finding them and we're in that area, we're going to go ahead and repair them at the same time. And we'll cut into those, grind them down, and then we're gonna add thicken epoxy, stuff like that. We'll fix them.
And we are installing new Teak panels in the aft cabin.
Yeah, so one of the other things we want to do in this video is we're going to install the new Teak panels that we made at home, and we'll start putting those back in the aft cabin, and that should be fun. That'll be nice to be actually putting something back together.
And we are installing new bilge pump.
Yep, so we're going to put together and try out our new bilge pump assembly, and the story around that is we want to have a switch up in the cockpit. We want to have an indicator light up in the cockpit. We want to know if that pump's coming on while we're in the cockpit, so we don't have to come all the way down here to find out. So that'll be a nice safety feature to add.
Okay, so let's get on it.
Yep.
So we can make things done.
Right. Okay, so one of the projects we want to do is we want to have a working bilge pump on this boat. And like when we said before, when we bought this boat, the bilge was full of water all the way up to the bottom of the batteries. So we finally got this bilge pump bracket out of there, and what a struggle that was, but it's out, and this is what it looks like. It does not look good. We're going to clean that up and paint it and make it look nice. So what we want to do is we want to integrate this bilge pump control panel and this remote bilge pump control switch that's going to go up into the cockpit, and the new float switch and the new bilge pump all on integrated together with the bracket, and get this installed in the boat. These are all going to go in different locations, different directions. This ought to be fun. So let's see if we can get everything all wired together and integrated so it all works before we install it into the bilge system and into the cockpit. Let's do all the troubleshooting in the easy location first. This took a little figuring out today, but we're getting there. See that? Very nice. Okay. All right, so we got a functioning bilge pump again. Ah, man. So anyways, but I got this nice Blue Sea bilge pump control panel. So it's going to control the primary bilge pump, and then we're going to have a high water level bilge pump also that'll be ran off of this upper circuit here. When the high bilge comes on, there'll be an alarm, so we know that we have a problem going on. But yeah, that's going to be pretty cool. So now I just gotta get all this, finish tidying up these wires here. I'm going to run them all up here. I'm going to run the hose up the bracket also, and then yeah, it'll go back down into the bilge. So fun times. Yeah, so here's the thing. I got to figure out how to get all of this bracket, bilge pump, and hose assembly. I got to figure out how to get that all down into here. Yep, I gotta get it way down there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna trim up this the white bilge pump discharge hose. I'm gonna trim that up, get rid of some of that because they got way too much extra length. And then this the white power wire that goes to the bilge pump, I'm gonna trim that up, get that out of the way. And yeah, I just kind of tidy this up a little bit. I think it'll work. It's just going to be a tight fit, but yeah, the bracket actually mounts up against this bulkhead here. Yep, so once I get it all in there, we'll fasten it back into place. Yeah, what a tight bilge area, huh? Anyways, eventually I'm going to get rid of all this board with these battery cables going to it and route that back where it belongs. Don't ask me how, but we got it in there, and we struggled for a really long time, and laying down on your chest trying to fight and struggle with your arms stretched out as far as they can to get things down. It's a deep bilge. We got it in there, that's all I can say. Now we got to run the wires and prove the system out as it's installed in the boat. That's for another time. Well, lucky for us, it was wet out when we got to the boat today. And as soon as we got up back working in the galley overhead area, noticed there was some water around this fiberglass mound of whatever it is, and saw that it's damp and moist and dripping moisture all around there. So guess we found another leak on the boat up in the galley overhead. Well, all in all, that's good because we want to find them now before we close this area up. So that was a big plus, and we're going to go ahead and get it fixed. Once we saw that leak, we started looking around, and it looks like it's a little bit damp up here as well. Doesn't look like it's totally wet, but it does look damp, so we're going to go ahead and do some repairs up here at the same time. So let's see what we have up in here. We have to cut all this out and fill it in with new filler, fair it in. You can see a little bit of moisture up in there. It's been leaking a little bit. And what we're going to do is we're just going to cut out that old filler and put in some new type filler and smooth all the edges and maybe throw some fiberglass over the top once it's all filled in and faired. And same thing goes for back here. And then we're going to continue working on cutting this out all the way aft. And we're going to put all, this is all just rotted plywood that had been wet at one point. And it's just fiberglass tabbed in, so we're just going to cut it out same as we did here, and I leave a little bit of the tabbing in there and the new templates that we've cut, and I've already sealed them with epoxy. They'll just slide right in. We've already fitted them, we know they fit, and we'll just slide those in one at a time with lots of epoxy so that they're sealed into place. And then once they're all sealed into place, I'll put new fiberglass tabbing cloth over the outside, and they'll be a permanent part of the boat. You know, but we gotta fix all that filler up there and make sure there's no moisture around it, and then glass all that in, and then we'll put all the trim pieces back in. So, and then this, once that's done, this vinyl will basically be able to close back up, and we'll be done with that part of it. So, but it's a lot of work. It's probably not going to happen quickly, but we'll get it done over time. So it's coming along. So I ground it out pretty good. I would have liked to have done better, but it's very hard to grind a lot of that with the Dremel tips keep breaking on me. So I got it ground out pretty good. Now what we're going to do is wipe it out with acetone, and then I'm going to start filling it in with epoxy, thicken epoxy to kind of, you know, fill in the low spots there, and then we'll put glass over it later. It'll turn out right. Trust me. This is a look after lots of fiberglass grinding with the Dremel tool. Seems like you're pretty comfortable over there, huh?
I am.
What do you got going on today?
Playing my game.
Yeah? You staying warm?
Yeah.
Got your nice electric blanket there. Kick back, staying warm. Got the heater pointing on you. Yeah. Yeah, we got lots of projects going on here at once. Yep. But yeah, I got the nav station all kind of tore apart, but we'll get around to that later. Got the bilge tore apart. Working on that also. And then we have the wall of shame right there. That's the wall of shame. That's all the jobs that are in work or needing to be in work. So, yep. And then we have the completely torn apart, mangled ceiling in the galley. But it's okay, because there is a method to the madness. It will come back together slowly. Okay. So this is the area after lots of grinding. Now you look closely and you can see actual little holes and pores inside that fiberglass. Well, that's allowing moisture and water to weep in and start to puddle, which was also contributing to that rotted plywood situation. So we wiped everything down with a good coating of acetone, let it dry really good, and prepared the surface and applied some thickened epoxy and then a couple layers of really light fiberglass cloth over the top of it. Hand formed it a little bit, got it into place, squeezed it around, made sure we got all the air pockets and air bubbles out, and went ahead and let this cure up. And it's not pretty looking, but I hope that it's going to do the job and stop that leak in that area. Well, while we're letting that thickened epoxy and fiberglass cloth cure over there in the galley overhead, we're going to circle back to the aft cabin project and start working on those teak panels and see if we can get some of those installed today. Okay, we'll start with the side panel here, the larger of the two side panels. And so I have the blue tape up at the top edge there, and what I do is I go to fit it, and if I need to sand any more off, I put a mark where all the high spots are, and I sand in those areas until they start to fit a little bit more flush and evenly across the entire top panel until I get a nice good fit. So here we have the top edge of the large panel and the slot, and the upper slot up there behind the vinyl. And you can see that it's still down just a little low below the window cutouts on the hull. So we got to do a little bit more sanding up on the top edge to get that to come in to where everything lines up. But we're close, but we're going to have to pull it down to do more hand sanding. So we'll pull the panel down again and do more hand sanding along the top edge until we get that nice good fit to where everything lines up just right. Then all of our screw holes and everything's going to line up with the window cutouts. It's going to look really nice. We're trying to do a really quality job here, so we're putting in the extra effort to make it nice. And we don't want it to just be good enough. We want it to be great. Well, here it is. You can see finally everything's lined up really good. We got the clamps holding everything into place. It's going to be time to start putting some screws in and installing this thing. It's going to look really good. Well, here it is. We finally got some screws in there, and we're starting to final attach this, and it's starting to look really good. You can see the window cutouts are evenly aligned with the cutouts in the whole structure, and so that's going to be good, and that'll be key for when we finally get around to reinstalling the newly rebuilt Portlights. When we get those finished and we can install them, everything's going to line up good. It's going to look really nice. We want it to be a professional looking job. Even though we're not professionals, we're trying our best. And we already have it lightly sanded, so that'll be nice. It'll be ready for the next coat of varnish when we decide to start varnishing all the panels together. But you can tell just from this last picture here that it's really starting to look good. This aft cabin is going to become a thing of beauty here real soon. We're pretty happy with what we're doing so far. All throughout the boat, wherever these teak panels line up with the ceiling areas, they have these weird pieces of plywood that have the angles cut into the sides. And that's so the panels will slide up into that slot, and it kind of holds the top end of the panel into place so it doesn't move around and it doesn't tilt in or out. It holds it tightly into place. Well, those pieces of plywood rot really easy, so we're having to rebuild all those. And here's another one. This one's really odd shaped, and I had a really hard time making it. We finally got what we think is going to work out, and we're going to try it out here. Using the old rotted pieces of plywood that were up on the ceiling headliner, we took those home and we used them to make patterns and duplicates with new plywood, and so we did that. And then we sealed the plywood with epoxy so it will be water resistant, waterproof hopefully. But anyways, we got these ready now, and so we're going to see about getting these installed. Alright, so today's goal is to maybe get some of these templates put into place. Made lots of new templates because all the other ones were all rotten from all the water leaks that we've found and either temporarily stopped or permanently repaired. So we got a new port light to install. It's not new, but rebuilt. Another template there. This template here was kind of tricky. It's got all kinds of weird edges and bevels, and anyways, see what happens. There's a couple more right here, right there, and another one's right there. So where these go is up inside here. One goes around the hatch, another one goes up here, attaches to there for the vinyl to attach to, and then up in here we're doing some more of the templates are going to go back up in there. So, and back here we have, this is the aft cabin. So far we have replaced this. This is new teak plywood here, and that was a real pain to fit in there. It just took a lot of work and just not quite in 100%, but it's in. this aft bulkhead piece was even more difficult. And this is the second piece. First one broke because it didn't make the curves in the radius. I tried to put it in too far and it broke. But this one seems to be holding its shape really well. And so part of the problem we're having is, if you look up here, you'll see some of this old plywood. You can see how it's kind of starting to lose its upper layers. Nothing really attaches to those. It's just the headliner, the vinyl headliner. So it's not like structure or nothing like that. And mostly it's just in place to kind of help these keep their curve, their shape in the corners. And so what happened last time was the one that goes here, it broke. And so I've made a new one, and this one's going to go up in here, and then once that's in place, we will reinstall this new panel here, and it'll fit up in here, kind of like, you know, that's just roughly showing you what it's going to look like. Then it's going to be in place. Once those are final installed, then we can start marking out and putting the trim retainers back in place, and then eventually putting the trim back in place. And you see there's a little bit of scratching right here, but there's actually a trim piece that goes up in there, covers all that up, and most of this will sand and go back, get another coat of varnish. I've only put one coat of varnish on this, where the other piece that broke, I had put like 4 coats on it, sanded in between each coating. It looked really nice, and then it broke. So this one I'm just gonna wait, get everything all put in place, and then we'll sand them, finish them in place. So the goal today will be to get this back on, and hopefully reinstalling the trim, or at least the trim mounting pieces, these ones right here, getting these put back on, and then locating the trim on there. So yeah, that'll be cool. If we can get that accomplished, I'll feel happy about that. And then we can start working on reattaching the vinyl a little bit, maybe next weekend or the weekend after. So, and then down the road, you can see these pieces hanging down right here. These are gonna come off. They're just made out of, looks like plastic, some kind of white plastic. I'm gonna take those off, use them as templates, and then I'll make new panels out of teak, and they'll put those in there. But you can see the plywood up in there. It's gonna have to come out. It's already separating. It's been moist, or it's gotten humidity to it, or whatever, and it's gonna come out, and we'll make new templates for that, just like we've been making for everything else. So it'll be all right. It's actually kind of fun work, so I enjoy doing it. And then we'll know that it's gonna be good. We'll make new pieces out of new plywood, and then these are all coated with epoxy and sealed on the edges, so that moisture is not going to just draw into them like it's happened there. So, and eventually this wood back here, it's going to have to be removed, because the bulkhead back there, which has a chain plate that attaches to it, is leaking, and so there's moisture back there. I'm assuming the whole aft bulkhead is going to have to be, the core is going to have to come out, and we'll have to put new core back in there, and then re-glass everything back up, reinstall the chain plate, and probably new wood as well. This wood looks like it's not going to come back without some staining on it, some permanent water stains, moisture stains. I'll take it off and I'll try to sand it and see what it looks like once it's lightly sanded. But so far it looks to me like we're going to be replacing that with new wood at some point. So no problem. It's not, none of it's hard work. It's just, time consuming, but it's fun. I enjoy doing it. So anyways, that's where we're at back here in the aft cabin. It's coming along slowly. We'll make some progress. Hopefully we'll have some good progress today, and I'll do it. So we're doing a test fit on that newly made panel retainer, the plywood piece that goes up on the ceiling there, and you can kind of see how it interfaces with the rest of them. They're all kind of an odd shape, but they all fit together kind of like puzzle pieces. But I think their sole purpose is for the vinyl to attach to and hold the upper edge of the teak panels in place and prevent them from flopping around, things like that. But either way, it looks like we got this one made just right, and it looks like it fits good enough that we're going to go with it. And it's good enough for government, it'll be good enough for the boat, so we'll keep on going. So here you can see we got 2 of the 3 aft cabin teak panels now. They're mounted, and the one long side panel there with the 2 port lights cut out in it, we have that trim retainer piece that's installed. It's only got a couple of screws in it. We're gonna have to finish installing those, and some of those have to be relocated, things like that. But it's slow going, but we're definitely getting some progress. It's really starting to look beautiful back here. Okay, so here's where we're at today. Got that mounted. We're working on mounting this trim piece and locating all the holes back up for it, and then I'll pull it off and I'll put a couple coats of varnish on it, because you can see it's got some weathering from before when these leaked here. So we're gonna fix that, make them all nice again, and then got the aft bulkhead teak panel in, got this side teak panel in, which was a very difficult fit. This one was also very difficult, and actually we broke the first one that I had put all that loving care into it, so much varnish, making it beautiful. So this time we just cut a new piece of teak, and I only put 1 coat of varnish on it. So that's where we're at on that. And then now, what we're working on right now is getting this fit, this teak panel here fit. As you can see, I have a couple of fasteners in it, holding it temporarily in place. And we just installed the new overhead panel. Well, it's not a panel, it's just a piece of plywood template that is used to hold this into the radius there. So anyways, a little bit of progress. We're getting there. Hopefully by the end of today we'll have this panel mounted, trim bracket mounted, and locate the trim on there. And then I'll have to take it all back off, because we're going to want to sand all this and varnish it, make it all nice and pretty before we start putting trim and everything on it. So anyways, we're getting there. And we picked this up. Got a new light here. This is a halogen light. It doesn't flicker like the LEDs do. So I'm using this for lighting back here. And when I'm taking videos and things like that, it won't flicker during the video. But it puts off a lot of heat, which is actually nice to have this time of year. So obviously on warm weather we won't be using it, but it's good for today. So we're just wrapping up this small panel over here, locating and installing the screws and just locating all the holes. It's critical. And then now that we got that located and all 3 of the teak panels are in place, man, it's really starting to look beautiful back here. Very happy with the progress we've made and the new skills that we're learning along the way. For not really ever working with wood before like this is really coming along good, and we're learning fast along the way. So we're going to do even better with the ones that we do in the future and the rest of the boat. But back here is our practice and training grounds, and it's coming along pretty good. So now we got the task of locating the trim on the small side panel here, and we have a couple of screws temporarily installed just to make sure it's fitting up good. Stepping back, it looks like it's just like it was before, so that's great. We got it lined up. That means all the pieces fit just like they're supposed to. Now we're working on the larger side panel, the one with the 2 port light cutouts in it. We're going to locate the trim piece for that now. And once we get that, all the holes located and get the screws started, make sure everything goes together just the way it's supposed to, that'll be a really big step for us today. We're really looking forward to seeing this all come together like this. It's very rewarding to be able to step back and look and see how beautiful it's coming along. Alright, here we are. We got both pieces of the large trim installed on both of the side panels. Take a look at that. It's looking pretty good. Not bad for a couple of rookies. We're learning this stuff slowly but surely. We might be going the hard way, but it's getting better. Alright, here we go. We got a little bit of progress today. We got this panel installed. Have the trim located. Aft bulkhead panels on, and the trim has been located and installed in place here. I'm going to take the trim back off, these big pieces of trim back off, because we're going to sand these and refinish them so that they will a little bit more closely match to teak up here. So they're just different, little bit different shade. So, and they need to be varnished anyways, sanded and refinished anyways. So yeah, we made some progress today. I'm very happy with that. Still have to locate the trim pieces in place for back on the aft bulkhead, but we'll get it. We're coming along. Seems like baby wants to get my attention. Time to eat. Thanks for making the nice lunch, baby. Appreciate it.
Alright, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoy this week's video. And if you are not subscribed yet, please subscribe down below. And don't get tired of watching us. It's gonna be an ending project.
Yeah.
But we are glad we're making a little bit of progress.
Yep. We'll just keep on working on it. We'll take it one step at a time and try not to look at the overall scope and just do one process, one step, and we'll get there. It's just going to take us a while. It's a lot bigger than we thought it was going to be.
All right. See you.
See ya. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.
Now there's a nice looking shell. I'd keep that one.
And what's that?
My idea. Oh, we got a boat coming. It's this guy. Nice. Dang. 5 engines on the back. That was sweet.